I actually didn't think it was possible for this team, Nico, to make us this mad this early. Like, I actually did not think it was possible to sit here and watch a baseball team 6 games in and be this ticked off. Okay, we're going to say some crazy things today, I'm sure, and we're going to call this a disaster like we said it is in the intro here on the title of this episode. But I didn't think it was possible for them to make me wish it was still the offseason.
I think we got to take a deep breath. There's a lot of new faces here. There's a lot of change that was made in the offseason. We have to see it develop. Lineups, we talk so much in baseball about how it's, one guy after the other. There needs to be flow in a lineup. They're still testing things out, seeing where guys fit in the order. I'm not as panicked as you are. I didn't love what I saw from the offense in St. Louis this week. But let's all take a deep breath, in through the nose, out with the mouth. It's only 6 games. We're going to be fine.
It's not panic. It's frustration. It's that we sat here for months and months and months and said, God, please let it be spring. Let it be the springtime. Let us have baseball again. And it's being terrible with runners in scoring position, not being able to move guys over, not getting the big hit when you need it. It's lazy effort, lazy play, not knowing how many outs there are, getting to balls too late, getting picked off. I mean, it's all of these things that just make me want to rip my hair out.
Well, seeing stuff like that from Lindor is very shocking. I mean, this is a guy that's been the clubhouse leader since the day he walked in 2021. So it's surprising to see that from him. But I think a lot of this, and I don't know how Scott feels about this based on, the offseason expectations, I'm almost, not surprised that this is how things look. I didn't love what they did in the offseason with the guys like, Semien and what they did with the bullpen, which actually I'm going to, eat my words on that when we talk about the bullpen later on. But even Robert, had the big home run on Saturday, the walk-off 3-run shot, has looked good in some moments, but nobody comes up with the big hit. And it's the same thing we saw last year. And I'm not as frustrated because it's almost like I kind of saw it coming. I didn't think this team was going to be this great, 90+ win team, especially right out of the gate when there's no chemistry yet.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, it's just the offense has been so disappointing. I thought that was going to be the strong point of this team, and it hasn't thus far. It's really been the pitching who's been very surprising, both the bullpen and the rotation. But it's just so discouraging to see this offense just be so lackluster against 2 teams that they really should not have had close games against, both the Pirates and the Cardinals now. Dropped 2 of 3 in St. Louis. It's just very discouraging early on this year so far.
Let's go off the rails for a second. Is that a new mic? You sound so good tonight. You sound great tonight. I just have to say.
It's the same mic.
It's the same mic. Was it not plugged in the last 2 times? You sound unbelievable. And it is discouraging because this Cardinal team is terrible. I mean, from top to bottom, this Cardinal team is god awful. There is no way, no chance in hell that you should be losing a series, even if it's in St. Louis. I don't care. And the pitching was great. I mean, you want to do stock up, stock down right now? Pitching, great. Starting pitching. I was shocked by Kodai Senga. Shocked by what he did the other night. Gave up a couple of hard hit balls. Some hits. The walks are an issue still, but I was incredibly impressed with what Senga was able to do. Holmes was good. The pitching's up for me.
Let me ask you an honest question, though, right? Because they're 3-3 right now, and you're frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
If they go into San Francisco this weekend and split, and now they're 5-5, are you still annoyed?
I think
because I'm perfectly content with 5-5, the same way I am with 3-3.
It depends on what the split looks like. Are these issues still occurring? Are they not hitting with guys in scoring position? Are they, is there lackadaisical play? Are they lazy? Do they not know how many outs there are? Are they walking to baseballs? Like that's my thing. Listen, if they lose a couple of close games and the other games are well-played wins, I'm totally okay with going out west and getting a split. But it has to look better than it did in St. Louis.
But those are things that are going to happen, during the course of 162. Like, there's going to be weeks where they don't hit. There's going to be weeks where they don't pitch. It's just the fact that it's the first week. You're looking at it like, oh my God, is this team not good? Because it's the only sample size we have to base it off of. I understand that, but like, if they were doing this in the middle of June, I don't think we'd be panicking, or you said panicking is not the right word, as frustrated as you are now.
It's not even that they're not hitting. Listen, the runners in scoring position, whatever. That's going to work itself out. I mean, they weren't great with it last season, but I do actually believe it'll work itself out this season. It's what I'm going to just completely come back on all episode long is they were lazy. There were multiple spots where guys did not know situations, veteran guys. And by the way, that falls on Mendoza for me. That does. Yes, Mendoza shouldn't have to, Mendoza being a better manager isn't going to affect if Francisco Lindor knows how many outs there are, but we can't be getting picked off. It just kind of, I guess the way the locker room is run, I don't know. It makes me enraged, especially when it's guys that have been here before.
And we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. And I don't want to make excuses for guys, because I was in the heat of the moment as it happened. I was livid at Lindor for not knowing how many outs there were, especially when you have a guy like Freddie Peralta on the mound who you'd like to go deep. And you could argue probably would have went deeper if it wasn't for those extra 5 pitches that he had to throw in the first inning because Lindor didn't turn the easy double play. But even Todd Zeile mentioned it on the broadcast. There was the rain delay. It's getaway day. They didn't know if the game was going to start until 6 o'clock because apparently there was rain in the forecast all afternoon. And then it turns out they are starting at 2:15. Like, I saw Anthony DiComo tweet that they took the tarp off while it was still raining. So nobody really knew what was going on. Maybe it was just, chaos in terms of getting ready to play. These guys are very superstitious in how they prepare each and every day. I don't like making excuses for guys on laziness, but today just seemed like a weird day.
Weird day where they sucked. A weird day where they could not get a big hit. Weird day where they were terrible once again with runners in scoring position. How about this one? I actually got to switch Twitter accounts because I bookmarked it on the other one. Oh, I'm on the right Twitter account. How about this? The Mets offense on opening day, 11 runs. The Mets offense in the last 5 games, 12 runs. Their batting average with runners in scoring position since game 1, I think they have 6 hits out of 40-something at-bats with guys in scoring position. I mean, this is embarrassing. It's embarrassing how bad it's been the last few nights with guys on base.
But that's what happens when you bring in multiple players that had sub 700 OPSs last year. Like, why are we expecting Marcus Semien to come in and be this guy that's going to hit, 30 bombs? I know he hit 42 home runs, but what was that, like 5 years ago? He's not the same player he once was. Luis Robert, sure, we talked about the change of scenery maybe being good for him, and sure, he looked good the first weekend against Pittsburgh, but the Pirates aren't a good team either. So if we're going to, say that he looked great so far against 2 bad teams, then I just think it's too early to tell. You're not going. The Marlins are 5-1. I mean, but they played the White Sox and Rockies. So how much do you look into it?
There are 3 guys in this lineup that I'm confident in. That's it. Obviously, Juan Soto, who's been great to start. Jorge Polanco's taken some nice at bats, and today hit the ball hard 3 times, had a double. And Luis Robert, those are the 3 guys right now that I feel the most confident in, that when they come up to the plate, they are going to do something, whether it's draw a walk, whether it's take a good at-bat, move a guy over, get a big hit. I have the confidence in those 3 guys right now, and while they're supposed to be big parts of this team, big parts of this offense, where's Lindor? Where's Beatty? Where's Benj? Where's Alvarez? And Semien is a whole other story that we need to get to, but I just didn't think that a guy like Robert would be somebody that's at the top of the list. Anthony Basha checking in. Yeah, I still wouldn't know, Anthony. We posted a video a week ago or so where we, went through if I would recognize this Cardinal player in the supermarket. And there were only 2 guys that I said I would recognize. And Anthony's trying to get back.
What 2 players?
It was Jordan Walker because he's massive, so I feel like I would notice Jordan Walker and Dustin May. I know what Dustin May looks like, and if you didn't know, he's actually on the Cardinals as well. It's how bad they are. And John checking in likes the Isles background there. Nico, which is not going well right now.
Yeah,
Not
it's a bit of a
going well.
disaster as a Mets and Isles fan this week, but
Bad.
hopefully things get back on track.
Give me your stock up, stock down here, both of them, Nico, and then we'll move to Scott. We'll try and move through here.
So my stock up is actually going to be the bullpen. I have loved what I've seen from a lot of different guys. I mean, Brooks Raley has come back. I mean, he came back last year, but has picked up right where he left off last year after the big arm injury. You know, this is a guy that's in his late 30s, wasn't sure what he was going to look like, and he has been fantastic. Loved what I saw from, Devin Williams and Luke Weaver. We were so skeptical of those moves, or at least I was in the offseason, because you got pretty big shoes to fill when you let Edwin Diaz walk out the door for, an extra $3 million. But Devin Williams has been up to the challenge. He looked great on Monday night when he got his first save, even in the non-save situations, coming in tie games late in the game. Even today, runner in scoring position, bottom of the ninth inning, he did not seem flustered at all, which I think was a big problem when he was with the Yankees, right? We talked so much about how the New York market was too big for him. He seems to be doing just fine. Brazoban is an absolute workhorse when you don't use him. I've said it multiple times already, through the first few episodes of this show. When you don't use him 5 times a week, he's actually a really solid and reliable reliever. So I like what I've seen from him. That's a big key for the Mets is the success that the bullpen has. Because on days like today, for example, we just saw it. When Freddie Peralta can't get through the 6th inning and you have to exit, with 2 on, for Brazoban to come in and keep it tied, and then even the other guys following up after him, that's huge for a Mets team that, when you're not scoring runs, definitely is going to need the pitching to step up, and they've done just that. My stock down, we honestly might all 3 of us have the same stock down. It's Marcus Semien. I mean, he's looked horrible. There have been multiple occasions where he's come up with a big spot, runners in scoring position, chance to come through with a big hit, and he has just not gotten it done. I think his average now is down to an even 100, which is just it's horrible. So I need to see more from Semien. I'm not asking him to be this, all-star second baseman who has a 800, 850 OPS. Just be decent enough to be serviceable, as a 6 or 7 hitter in that lineup.
Yeah, we could save Semien for later in the episode. We could get to him. The one thing I want to say, I want to harp back to your point on the bullpen. This may get me into some trouble, what I'm about to say. This may come back to bite me in the ass. Not only do I think the Mets just completely forget that Edwin Diaz existed, I think Devin Williams has a significantly better season than Edwin Diaz this year. That's how confident I am in Devin Williams. That's how confident I am that this guy is going to return to form. When you look at every advanced metric from 2025, they all told you he should have been much better than he was. He really was unlucky. And maybe he didn't like the answers at the time when he was giving them after he'd blow a save for the Yankees. But he ended up being right. You look at expected ERA, expected FIP, everything tells you he should have been better. So I think Williams is going to be, and we've seen evidence that he seems like he's back. I think he's going to be great for this team all season long.
Scott, I think it's a huge thing for the Mets for Devin Williams too. I mean, this is a guy whose career could have gone to the dumps, right? If he comes to the Mets, and we still don't know, obviously it's only been a few games, but if he sucks, that's now 2 out of 3 teams he's been on. It hasn't been good. That's really a really bad look for him in his career, for a guy that, people probably could have argued when he was in Milwaukee winning Reliever of the Year awards that he was on pace to possibly be a Hall of Famer, one of the best relievers of his generation. So to see him turn things around so far has been nice to see.
Scott.
Yeah, I'm going to go similar to what Nico picked here, but I'm going to go with the rotation, specifically the 3 guys that pitched this weekend. This week, Clay Holmes, Kodai Senga, and Peralta, just solid outings. All of them, around 6 innings, not putting too much work into the bullpen, and less than 2 runs earned for all 3 of them in all 3 of these games. So I'm just going to go with the rotation here.
I was shocked with, and I agree. And I agree with both of you. Stock up, stock down. I had the whole pitching staff. Senga gave up some hard hits the other night, and he gave up some just hits in general, too many hits in general. I think it was 7 hits, but he was sharp. He was sharp, and that fastball looked good. And obviously the ghost fork running off of that, he was impressive. And again, I told you what I think of Kodai Senga. I think he's going to be a guy that potentially gives you a couple of good months, and then he's going to wear off. But as long as you can get from him, as long as possible, right? You'll take it. You'll take whatever time he gives you as this reliable starter, and you won't complain.
Absolutely. And then for my stock down, I had him in the last episode. It's going to continue with Marcus Semien agreeing with Nico. Everything that he said, not a word wrong there.
I mean, like you, Nico, you're preaching patience and this and that, right? Like this is you. Like you're the calm one today, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You're calm, and I'm not. Like, shouldn't we have like the same approach? I guess with Semien, like, all right, it's gonna. He'll eventually figure this out. And I agree with you. He does not have to be this elite player, but I still find it hard to believe that he can't be this guy that gives you 15 to 20 home runs and a 700 OPS. Like that was my hope. Hope. And it doesn't look like he could do that right now, but I still want to hold on to hope because it's only 6 games.
All signs, though, the last couple of years pointed to the opposite, that he was only going to continue to get worse with his age. Like Luis Robert, I hear you. The change of scenery could be good for him. Devin Williams, fresh start, not with the Yankees. The expectations and the standards from, the Bronx to the Queens are different. Same thing with Luke Weaver. Bo Bichette, great hitter when healthy, when he's out there. He hit over 300 last year, good enough to, compete for a batting title. It's just someone like Semien in his mid-30s, way past his prime. Sure, the defense is valuable, but at the plate, I just don't see how you could expect anything from him.
Well, you can't. You can't anymore. I mean, like, again, my expectations were low. That's my problem. Like, they were already lowered. So I came into this season thinking that it wasn't going to be much, that he could hit at the bottom of this lineup and give you something. He might be done. I mean, he might be done legitimately. And this trade, he was bad last year, though. He was. If he gave you to his 2024 season, okay, 23 homers, 74 RBIs, hit 237 with a 700 OPS, you would have signed for that. No, you would have signed for that.
Yeah,
I would have signed for it.
The trade, though, wasn't made for his bat. The trade was made because, A, he's an excellent defender at second base, and B, his contract was shorter than Nimmo's. So they took 2 years off the books, paying basically the same price. So now in 2020, whatever it is, 2028, they'll have that money where it would have been tied to Nimmo for 2 more years. So you're getting a worse bat, but a better fielder at 2 years less. I think that was the thought process in terms of making that trade if you're David Stearns.
And I completely agree with the trade. I was happy with the trade. I wanted Nimmo out of here. I hate the contract. And I was fine with Semien. But I think at the very least, they thought they were getting a serviceable bat for 2026 and possibly 27. I don't think that they were having I don't think they thought they were going to be having conversations early in 2026 like, oh my God, the rest of this contract, even if it's just 2 years after 2026, is going to be torture. This is going to be terrible.
And I mean, this is a guy that replaced Jeff McNeil in the lineup, and just like, if he's not able to replicate at least McNeil's offensive production from the past few years, it's kind of like, what are we doing with this trade?
I think too, though, if they have to, you'd be eating the money from the Semien contract if they were to move on from him. But they have Brett Baty. Brett Baty showed us last year that he can play second base. We see him moving around, DHing, playing first. I think he played right field the other night once. So he's versatile enough where you could stick Baty in second base, let him, sit there at one position. It's not like, oh my God, the Mets don't have a second baseman. What are we going to do?
Well, yeah, Baty gets more consistent playing time in the infield, but now what do you do with DH? We're not going to have the conversation right now. We're not having that conversation right now. But
you know how I feel.
Yeah, I do. And they brought his boy back. Thank God. Is he going to fix him? Is JD Martinez, going to fix Mark Vientos? Who the hell knows? But it does give you a little bit of a hole there where it's like, all right, now we're kind of platooning DHs, where right now it is a consistent group of guys playing. Like, we know what the first 9 look like. And that includes Brett Baty either DHing or playing one of the positions. that somebody else is a day off at. I'm pissed. I'm pissed today. I'm pissed because we looked forward to baseball. The MVP of the series. Do we have an MVP of the series? I'll go Clay Holmes. Thought he was sharp. Thought he looked good. Threw too many pitches in the first and second inning when he gave up the 1 run in the first, the 1 run right back. But I'll say Clay Holmes is my MVP, and I'm actually excited about what Clay Holmes could potentially offer for this team. I think he's going to be more than just a 4 starter. I actually think he could be the number 3 starter on this team. So I'll say Clay Holmes is my MVP of the week.
I know he got the loss today, but I'm going to go with Tobias Myers. He has looked awesome in that bullpen for the Mets, kind of like a Swiss Army knife type guy where you can pitch him for 3 innings if you need. He can come in and get 1 out. He can come in and pitch an inning. Monday night he was great, shutting down the Cardinals lineup. And then even today, I know he took the loss, but to pitch a scoreless 10th and then probably should have pitched a scoreless 11th, right? If Benj gets to that ball in shallow right field, or even if Semien was able to get out there, it looked like Benj called him off. But if you watch the replay, Semien might have been able to get there because he kind of backed off. So I don't really blame Myers on that. So you could argue that he could have had 4 scoreless innings, in 3 games coming out of the bullpen. So I love what I've seen from Myers. He was my MVP of this series.
You go, Scott. You go. No, you go.
I was just going to bring up my MVP. So if you have something to say on that.
No, it's completely unrelated, and we're going to fight about it, so go.
Okay, my MVP is going to be Juan Soto. The only guy on this lineup that I can rely to get a hit at any moment. It's just he's the only bright spot right now, batting .381, 26 at-bats, 9 hits. He's the only bright spot in this lineup, and I feel like it's a no-brainer in terms of offense.
Yeah, we're going to fight about something. I really don't think Benj is ready. I don't think he's ready for this. I think he needed the 2 weeks, 3 weeks in spring training. You can call me crazy, call me a hater. You can say I'm overreacting. That's perfectly fine.
What would have been the alternative though? Tyrone Taylor? Like, it's clear that they didn't have faith in Taylor because they brought up Benj as a pinch hitter in a big spot with 2 on and 2 out, knowing that there was a lefty warming up in the pen. Like, he could have had Taylor versus Ryan Stanek or Benj against Jojo Romero. He went to Benj knowing that it was going to be a lefty-lefty matchup. That shows how much confidence he has in Benj or how little they trust Tyrone Taylor to be a key contributor.
I would have left Tyrone in that spot. And you might say I'm saying this because I don't want Benj here right now, and that's fine. I would have left Taylor in that spot because Stanek's wild, and he could have walked him, and he could have just thrown 4 balls out of the strike zone where Taylor has no thought of swinging at it, right? And 2, the lefty-lefty matchup, he has not shown that he can hit lefties, and I have this. He just looks a little lost. He looks a little overmatched.
You're just negative Nelly today.
I get killed for this. I understand Taylor's weaknesses. I get that. Yes, this is negative. I'm negative today. I'm pissed.
It's more just the idea that we're 6 games in and he's 3 for 19. Like, it's not like he's like 0 for 35. Like, he's shown flashes that he can put it together. In this Giants series, if he goes 4 for 16 or, even better, 5 for 15, let's say, it takes 1 3-game, 4-game set for him to instantly turn it around. And then his batting average, because early in the year, the stats, are so skewed that one good weekend and your batting average goes up like 200 points. We could be having a completely different conversation by Sunday. So I think the fact that he's not completely overmatched where you've seen enough flashes makes me think that he's going to be just fine.
I hope on Sunday, I'm sitting here eating my words. I hope on Sunday that I'm wrong. You don't understand how wrong I want to be. I want to be so wrong about this, but he looks a little overmatched. He does. And you know what? This is true. I'll say this. This is true. I really thought Tauchman could have provided them with professional at-bats. And I understand this wasn't an option. This was not an option. I get it. Because Tauchman got hurt. But I do think he would have added some stability and some professional at-bats in here for the first month or so while Benj got better, fixed the issues that, I think they still clearly thought he had at the end of last season as well, and fixed them into this season as well. But he's here, and he excites me. I just have no confidence. No confidence.
But at the same time, it's 6 games. I feel like if you send him down now, like
no, I'm not saying send him down. He has to stay up. He has to stay up.
There's not much options behind him either, which is the concerning part. You're having Jared Young or Tyrone Taylor start every day in that situation.
I'm not saying that he should be benched.
Yeah, I know.
Like he's in this. That's it. He's in it. And Talkman's not coming back anytime soon. So, but he's fully in this thing. And Melendez shouldn't come up either, by the way. But yeah, this was frustrating. Let's get to, did I give you my MVP, my LVP? Who's my LVP? Francisco's. Anybody named Francisco is my LVP. Lindor not knowing the outs. Lindor getting picked off. For Alvarez. By the way, he had a terrible pass ball. Was that Monday or Tuesday, the pass ball? I think it was Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
That was terrible. He should have caught it. It was a fastball. He should have caught it. There's no excuse for it. He was just very lackadaisical this week, early this week. So I would go, my LVPs are the Franciscos.
Mine's going to be a little different. I'm not picking a player specifically. I am going to talk about the people that are annoyed with how Carlos Mendoza has used the bullpen so far.
Here we go.
Because I'm hearing so many people complain about how they only were 5 games into the season and already watched Richard Lovelady pitch 3 times. They're down 2-0 in the game, and they ended up getting shut out. So what, you would have rather them use their better relievers for a game that they were never going to win anyway? Obviously, at the time, you don't know that, sure, but it was clear that the bullpen had been used Monday. The bullpen had been used Sunday, a couple of the guys. There's no need to overwork these guys so early. So we're complaining about a guy that has pitched 3 times in 5 days, who's probably not even going to be on the roster in a month. I couldn't believe that this is what people were so mad at, compared to the fact that their $300 million payroll team was just shut out by the St. Louis Cardinals, who don't have the greatest pitching staff in the world. This is what we're complaining about. We're complaining about Richard Lovelady. Like, can we not?
My issue with Lovelady isn't as much with Mendoza as it is Stearns. Like, we shouldn't be sitting here on March 31st, right? The last time Lovelady came into a game. We shouldn't be sitting here, and these shouldn't be our conversations. It's a $300 million payroll, more than that. I understand there's a couple injuries, but the way this bullpen looks right now, you have 2 basically long relievers. You use Tobias Myers essentially as a long reliever. Sean Manaea is a glorified long reliever, and one that is terrible, by the way, or will be terrible. The way the bullpen is constructed right now doesn't make any sense. So you have 2, and Myers a high leverage guy. So you have 2 guys that aren't high leverage, and then the rest are high leverage, and you're being very cautious with them, which makes sense. But the way it's constructed doesn't make sense. None of this bullpen construction makes sense whatsoever.
But if this is game 6 of the National League Championship Series and they're down 3-2, have to win, we saw it actually multiple times Mendoza do this, where in 2024, game 3 of the wild card, Diaz comes in the bottom of the 7th with the team down 2-0, desperate to keep it a 2-0 game. And we saw the same thing last year in game 162, where he brought Diaz, and I forget what the situation was. I think it was like they were down 4-0 in the bottom of the 5th. And Edwin Diaz comes into the game because at that moment you have to keep it a 4-run deficit. It's the 5th game of the season. Like, I understand you're sitting there saying like, oh, it's only 2-0. They easily could have came back. But like, you're not that desperate for it. So like, there's no need to overwork your better relievers.
Again, I didn't want to see Devin Williams in that game. I didn't want to see Luke Weaver in that game. I understand that. I'm totally okay with that. Like, where's Luis Garcia, right? Like, Luis Garcia is better than Richard Lovelady. Where's Luis Garcia
I'll be sure about
Tuesday
that.
night? I'm sure about it, yes.
I mean, listen, that they're both horrible. So this is a a ridiculous argument to have. Who's better, Luis Garcia or Richard Lovelady? But like, it doesn't make a difference to me at that point. So like, I'm not going to be like, I can't believe he put in Lovelady instead of Garcia. They
It
both
does.
suck.
To me, it makes a difference.
I agree with you, Merlot. I think Luis Garcia is the one you should go to in that situation.
Again, it's like it's almost like you're joking. It's almost like you're literally joking around sending him out there again. 3 out of 4 days, you're sending him out there literally to die. I actually feel bad for him. I legitimately feel bad for the guy. They are literally throwing him out there just to use his arm, and then they're going to release him. Did they release him yet? They're going to release him tomorrow.
For the 7th time.
Just using him. I feel bad. I actually feel a little bad. I mean, I shouldn't, because when he get paid $1 million for a week or so, but I genuinely feel bad.
Do you think he still has like this? Do you think he still lives in the same place he did like from the first time they signed him?
He's in a hotel. He's in a hotel. He has to be in a hotel.
But he never signed with a different team, did he? He was always either a Met or got DFA'd, and then no one claimed him, right?
I think he went to the Yankees briefly and then came back to the Mets.
Right. So he never left New York.
I don't know where he's been, but he's not living he's not renting a house. I think they just put him up in a hotel. He's probably just living out of a hotel right now. We should try and find this out. But yeah, I would assume so. I mean, he just barely made the roster, so he didn't know if he was coming up to New York. So once you get the confirmation, which was last Thursday, he was coming up to New York, where was he staying? He didn't buy a place here. I don't think he's that well off.
I don't know. I figured like last year he might have like got a place and then just never got rid of it. That was my thought. But like that's what I'm saying. Like you feel bad for the guy, but I think he's chilling, living the high life in New York City, making almost $1 million. Let him just go out there and keep. If he blows his arm out, it's not going to be like, oh my God, the season's over. Richard Lovelady's out for the year. Like, who cares? Just I'd rather do that than possibly risk injuring a Brooks Raley.
It's just so disrespectful towards Dick. And on top of it, they're going to release him. He's probably going to be back on this team at some point in the season, right? Like you'd expect that he's going to be back. It's a joke. This is all.
Is there not a single other left-handed relief pitcher on the market that they needed to sign him 7 different times?
Well, they had that guy Hudson, which I think they actually traded cash considerations for him, if I'm not mistaken, from Chicago.
Like it just seems. Is it like it's because it's easy? It's like, hey, let's just give Dickey a call again, see if he'll come back. Like
I don't know.
Because if they're gonna release him and then Minter's coming back, I don't see how there's ever going to be a place for him here again. Because now you're going to have Raley and Minter,
right. Yeah.
And then if the plan is to actually keep Minaya in the bullpen, now that's 3 lefties in the pen.
They need to figure something out. I don't know what they're going to do.
This is great for my narrative. Call up Craig Kimbrell. I said it earlier in the season. I wanted him to make this bullpen. Just a thought. He's down there. He's with us.
He's with us. He's still with us. I can't see your face, Scott. You could call him up. That's fine. I'm okay with calling him up. Let's give him a shot. Just give him a shot.
Good, solid veteran reliever.
We can't talk Cardinals. We're not talking Cardinals. I'm not talking Cardinals. I'm not talking Marlins. I'm not talking Yankees. We're talking Mets. So we basically went over everything with Mendoza. Again, it wasn't that I disagreed with the move. I was pissed that he's in this spot. That was my issue. I understood why he used Lovelady on Tuesday night. I get it.
One other thing that I was gonna mention too, Jared Young batting 6th, and then the guy had a hit both Monday and Tuesday, so it was like I guess I can't say anything negative then.
Did he hit 5th Tuesday night?
He might have, yeah.
100%. That shocked me too. I understand he had a couple of nice knocks, in this series, but what are we doing? Why is Jared Young hitting 5th?
I don't understand why he's
playing over Vientos.
I understand why he's playing over Vientos. I understand it. I understand it. I do. He gives you, first of all, they were facing a righty, right? Correct. They were in at least the first game. They were facing a righty.
Yeah.
So that made sense, and he did have the big double in that game. That made sense to me. But Vientos starts today, rips the double down the line. Okay, JD's back. Let's go. Listen, I Scott texting me today. You're going to eat your words. What words am I going to eat today? I mean, I feel like I do that every day. And it was about Vientos. He ripped the double down the line. Okay, I'd like to. I'd like to eat my words on Vientos. How about you see this, by the way? You see this from Heyman dropped the other day?
No.
So the Mets the White Sox wanted Brett Beatty for Luis Robert. The Mets said no. The Mets offered Vientos for Luis Robert. The White Sox said no. And then eventually they agreed on Luis Angel Acuna somehow. Which I'll say we won that. We win that because I would rather Vientos. I mean, I don't think highly of either, but I think less of Acuna than I do Vientos.
I'm actually shocked that the White Sox would have rathered Acuna. I guess they see the defense and the speed.
Shocking. Actually shocking.
Works for me.
Works for.
I got my guy still.
You've got your guy. That's for sure. He's still here.
Swaggy V.
What's your prediction, Nico? I mean, you're still a little negative for my liking, but are you like locked in here? Like you think they're going to split? You think they're going to be? You take 3 out of 4. They lose this series. What is it?
I mean, the Giants have looked pretty bad, but I didn't think the Cardinals or Pirates were anything either, and the Mets failed to be above 500 in that 6-game stretch. So I'd love to say that they're going to win 3 out of 4. I think minimum you have to split. If they lose 3 out of 4, I'm going to be, talking the way you are tonight when we do the next show on Sunday about how this is a disaster. I can't believe this, because if they don't win at least 2 games in this series, we're going to have big problems. I'd like to think that they can win 3 out of 4, but it's tough. A California, you're on the road, long road trip. I'm going to say they split, and I'm okay with that if they're 5-5 after this. But I'd really like to see them turn things on and take 3 out of 4.
And I'll say they'll split too. And you asked me before, am I going to scream and yell if they split? Depends on what it looks like. If this is competitive baseball, again, they're hitting with guys in scoring position. They're not making boneheaded mistakes. I'm totally okay with going out west and getting a split.
But this was competitive baseball. It's not like they lost 9-0 today.
No, but
every game's been close.
They took themselves out of today's game, essentially. Getting picked off, not knowing how many outs, not hitting with guys in scoring position. You did it to yourself. You beat yourself today. At least that's how I see it. I think
you got to tip your cap to the Cardinals pitching staff. That's what Lindor said post game too. They made good pitches. Listen, hitting's hard. I'd argue that hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in any sport. It's not. Can't expect every guy to just come up and automatically get a hit with the bases loaded every time. Would you like to see them do it more often? Of course, but maybe it's just one of those weeks, and then maybe next week they're hitting the cover off the ball.
Do you think baseball's harder than hockey?
I think the sport as a whole, hockey is harder just because of like the skating aspect of it. But in terms of like one thing to do, like I think that Francisco Lindor could step on a sheet of ice, put on skates, and shoot a puck into the net.
I think
wouldn't be he's not going to ring it like Connor McDavid, but it wouldn't look horrible. But if you give Connor McDavid a bat and tell him to go face Paul Skeens, there's no chance he's touching the ball.
I agree with like that aspect of it. I agree with hitting a baseball is the most difficult to do in sports. But in terms of like the entirety of the sport, I think hockey is much more difficult because of the physicality and the fact that you have to skate. Like when I watch hockey, I'm a very casual diehard fan. It's like doing mental gymnastics of like how this is possible that they're this good and they're this athletic.
they don't even look like they're like, it
No.
looks like for them it's just the same thing as walking. Like they don't think twice about like back skating, stopping, turning around, going sideways. It's crazy watching.
They don't get enough credit either. That's the issue. They don't get enough credit for how good they are. Anyway, I digress. The pitching matchups this weekend: David Peterson versus Robbie Ray. That's Thursday night, 9:45, 10:15 on Friday. Nolan McLean versus, Tyler Mahle. Okay, Tyler Mahle. We have Holmes against Roop and Senga against Logan Webb, who's actually off to a pretty tough start this year, as I would know because he's on my fantasy team. So I'll go split. Scott, what's your prediction on?
Yeah, I'm gonna go split as well with Robbie Ray and Logan Webb. I think you have to do at least split. You're facing off against two of the best pitchers in the Giants rotation, so it's going to be tough to win that Thursday game and that Sunday game. But I think I think at the very minimum you have to come back home with a series split just to salvage this road trip at least a little bit.
Landon Rupp, however you say his name, he was pretty good in his first start. 6 innings, scoreless, 7 strikeouts. But you're facing up against our guy Clay, so that's going to be tough. Episode 5 in the books. Hopefully the next episode. I don't know when the next episode will be because Sunday is Easter Sunday if you celebrate, and I will certainly be celebrating. So we could get it out Sunday. We could get it out Monday morning, though. We will work all that out, but expect an episode at some point after that Giant series. And hopefully we are a lot happier than we are right now. Back to the Mets, episode 5 in the books. We will talk to you guys after the Giant series.